Who approved this construction plan? A blind man or a fool? Or perhaps a blind fool?
Welcome to my YouTube channel. The purpose of this video is to explain how building works and some ways to optimise it. To enter construction mode, press the hammer button on the central middle panel, or the default hotkey is C, with Q and E cycling through the categories. H takes you straight to building a burgage plot. Some buildings can be upgraded to give them more utility. This will always require some materials and labour to upgrade them, and you can find this by selecting the building. Most constructs can be placed anywhere on the region you have selected, providing that you own the region, either by starting with that region or claiming it through influence. You need to have all the resources required for construction in that specific region's stored goods supply, although some buildings don't require anything to construct. The construct mustn't cross the path of another construct or a road. If it is your road, you can simply remove and resite as appropriate, but you cannot do this to the pre-existing or King's roads. Lastly, you may notice contour lines, as if on an OS map, appear when you select something for construction. These can interfere with the placement of some buildings, with burgage plots being most affected and fields and pasture being the least. This doesn't interfere too much with building placement. I did specifically have to go looking for somewhere in order to demonstrate this. Once you have placed a building, it would be advisable, although not 100% necessary, to link it to the road network. Some goods are simply carried, but others are transported via handcart. Goods transported this way are moved more quickly when they are on road, so if the building produces anything moved this way, it will be faster for workers to transport these goods. Road costs nothing to build and is built instantly, requiring no villagers to actually construct it. Once you have placed something for construction, typically materials will need to be delivered, although some buildings don't require any materials, and usually it will require some labour to build it, although fields and pastures don't require any building work. Holding tab allows you to see the progress of the construct, which includes materials delivered and building work done as a percentage. Timber transport appears to be the most significant limiting factor in construction. It is required in nearly all buildings, very often being the only material required. This cannot be carried, and a worker must lead an ox who pulls each log rather slowly, it seems. The speed seems unaffected by road. Unassigned families may lead the ox, but where there are none, I've seen woodcutters or logistics workers and servants at the manor doing this. There are a few ways that you can make this process a bit more efficient. The starting location of your timber. When workers produce timber, it will initially be located where the tree was cut down. If there is a free ox, the timber will then usually be moved into a nice little stack on the timber camp. This seems to be a lower priority compared to transport for building purposes or to a saw pit. Moving the timber camp doesn't move the stack of timber, it stays where it is. Placing timber camps where you are planning to construct a higher density of buildings means there's a shorter distance to transport this. Buy more oxen. 2 logs being transported very slowly is much better than 1. You can do this at a hitching post, stable, or a livestock trading post. A hitching post, or its upgraded version, the stable, is the default location for an ox when the ox is not currently transporting timber. The hitching post can be moved. A good place, for instance, would be next to a timber camp, and then there's a shorter distance to travel to pick up timber. You can find a hitching post under the logistics section of the construction panel. If you don't have many families, and you have set a lot of buildings to be constructed, it might be more efficient to wait until most of the buildings have had their timber delivered, because on average it seems to take longer for this to be delivered than for the actual building work to occur. Unassigned families will transport any other materials, such as stone, if this is required, and actually do the construction of the building or the upgrade. Although timber may be transported by families who are already unassigned, actual building work will not be done unless there is at least one family that is unassigned. I hope you enjoyed the video or it was helpful to you in some way. If you did, don't forget to like, comment or subscribe. I also stream on Twitch, so the link to that is in the description.